I've been driving for a rideshare app for 6 years. Nights, mostly because the pay's better and I like the quiet. In 6 years, you pick up drunks, arguments, first dates, breakups happening in real time in your back seat. You learn to tune it out. I'm telling you about the one ride I can't tune out. Not because anything jumped out at me, not because anyone screamed. Because for 3 hours, a woman paid me to drive in circles, and I still don't know what she was waiting for. It was a Tuesday. Tuesdays are dead, no bar rush, no weekend chaos. I usually clock out by midnight on a slow one. I was already thinking about heading home when the app pinged. Pickup was a strip mall parking lot on the edge of town. Closed nail salon, closed tax office, one gas station still lit up at the end of the row. No bar, no restaurant, nothing that explained a pickup at 11:40 p.m. I pulled in, and the only person standing there was a woman in a long coat, maybe mid-30s, holding her phone against her chest like she was hiding the screen from someone. She got in the back seat passenger side, not the seat behind the driver, which I noticed because most people sit behind the driver. She sat where she could see out the front windshield. "Where to?" I asked. She looked at her phone. "Just drive toward downtown for now." "Fine." People change their minds on destinations all the time. I pulled out. 2 minutes in, she said, "Actually, take the long way, not the highway." I said sure, and looped onto the surface streets instead. In the mirror, she wasn't looking at her phone anymore. She was watching the side mirror, not her own reflection, the actual mirror, angled toward the road behind us. At the light on 9th, she asked, "Is there a car behind us?" I checked. "A sedan, couple cars back, why?" "No reason." She said it too fast. I didn't think much of it yet. People get paranoid after bad dates, bad nights, bad decisions. I've had passengers ask me to lock the doors, ask me to not stop at red lights. If I could help it, once had a girl ask me to just keep driving past her own apartment because she thought someone was waiting outside. You learn not to ask too many questions. You just drive and let them feel safe. So when she asked me to take another turn, then another, doubling back on streets we'd already been on, I figured this was the same thing. Someone she was avoiding. I didn't clock that we'd now passed the same 24-hour pharmacy 3 times. 20 minutes in, the fare on the app still read like a normal, short trip. The app hadn't caught up to what was actually happening because she hadn't given me a destination. I finally said something. "Ma'am, I need an actual address at some point. The app's going to flag this as a weird route." She didn't answer right away. She was watching the mirror again. Then, "Can you just keep driving? I'll pay you for your time, cash, on top of the fare. Whatever the app charges, I'll double it." I should have said no. I've thought about that a lot since the moment where a normal driver says "I'm not comfortable with that," and ends the ride right there. But it was a slow Tuesday, and doubling my fare for driving around an already familiar loop of surface streets was financially a pretty easy yes. "Okay," I said, "just tell me where." "Anywhere, just not stopped." I don't want to be stopped anywhere. That's the line that stayed with me. I don't want to be stopped anywhere. Not I don't want to go home, not I'm being followed. Just not stopped. Like the danger wasn't a place. It was stillness. So we drove. For the next hour, I looped the same 6 or 7 blocks of downtown side streets, back around by the river access road, past the same shuttered storefronts over and over. She stopped talking almost entirely. Every few minutes, she'd check the side mirror. twice she asked me to slow down without stopping. Not stop, just slow so she could look at something behind us. I never saw what. I tried small talk twice. Both times she answered in single words and went back to watching the mirror. I stopped trying. Somewhere around the 1 hour mark, I noticed she'd started doing something with her hands, turning her phone over and over on her lap. Screen down, screen up, screen down. Not looking at it. Just turning it. I want to be honest about something. At no point did I feel like I was in danger. That's what made it strange instead of scary at first. She wasn't frantic. She wasn't crying. She was doing the calm, controlled thing people do when panic has already been happening for a long time and they've learned to sit inside it quietly. Around 1 a.m., I asked carefully, "Do you want me to call someone? Police or..." No. Immediate, flat. No police. That was the first time I felt something shift in my stomach. The second hour, I started paying attention the way you do when a passenger's fear starts becoming your fear by proximity. I checked my own mirrors more. I noticed a dark-colored sedan a few times, not consistently, not obviously tailing us, but enough times on a loop of the same 6 blocks that coincidence started feeling like the wrong word. I never got a plate. Downtown at 1 a.m., the same few cars cycle through the same few streets. I told myself that. At one point, she asked me to pull into a parking garage and not park, just drive up 1 level and back down, slowly, past the stairwell door. I did it. She watched the stairwell door the entire time we passed it, then said, "Okay, keep going." And we left the garage without incident. I asked her gently, "Is someone trying to find you?" She was quiet long enough that I thought she wasn't going to answer. Then, "I don't know if they're trying to find me or make sure I don't go somewhere." I didn't understand that sentence then. I'm not sure I understand it now. I've turned it over more times than I want to admit. Close to the 3-hour mark, she finally said, "Take me back to the strip mall, where you picked me up." We drove back. When I pulled into the lot, it was empty except for 1 car near the gas station, the only other vehicle there. She looked at it for a long moment. Not scared exactly. Something closer to relief or the end of holding your breath. "That's fine," she said mostly to herself. "That's her car. That's fine." She paid me cash, exactly as promised, folded neatly, more than doubled the fare, and got out without another word. She didn't walk toward the car she'd been looking at. She walked toward the gas station instead, went inside, and didn't come back out while I was still in the lot. I sat there for a minute. I don't know why. Maybe to see if anyone else pulled in. Nobody did. I left. I never found out who she was avoiding, or if avoiding is even the right word for what was happening. I don't know whose car that was in the lot or why seeing it made her say, "That's fine." Like she'd been dreading it and relieved by it at the same time. I looked for her a few times after that on later shifts, without really meaning to, checking faces at gas stations, glancing at strip mall parking lots a little too long. I never saw her again. Here's the part I keep coming back to. She never once asked me to take her somewhere safe, never asked for a police station, a friend's house, anywhere with people in it. She only ever asked me to not stop. Like the danger wasn't a person waiting somewhere, like it was closer than that. I still drive Tuesdays, I still take pickups from empty parking lots. But now when someone gets in and won't give me a destination, I ask a lot fewer questions than I used to, and I watch the mirror a lot more than I used to too.